What have you been playing? A little bit of Call of Duty?
Just a tad bit.
You just touched it?
Yeah, no, because I was curious.
Did
I
it
saw
touch you?
Oh, so I saw it on Game Pass. I was like, oh, this is on Game Pass. This is cool. Let me try it out. One thing I absolutely have to hark on, and I absolutely despise that they're doing this, is that when you're downloading the game, you have to unclick so many extra add-on stuff in order to keep this file size down. Because the file size of this game is, I want to say, between like 60 to 80 gigs on its own. Which
Just
is
the campaign.
just the campaign on its own.
Which is big.
It's big, but it's not that big. But when you account for like Warzone and as well as like, the multiplayer experience, which is like another like 20 to 40 gigs, as well as like the 4K textures and whatnot, and as well as like, MW3, any DLC.
Oh, and they want you to download MW3. They really do. I saw that because I went in and I downloaded it, and I only opted for 3 things.
Right.
But because of the stupid Call of Duty launcher that they're trying to make a thing.
Right.
I hear Assassin's Creed's trying to do the same thing with like a launcher so you can play all the games in one spot.
Oh my gosh. Ubisoft, why?
I don't understand. It's kind of dumb. Which I understand because of Warzone, that kind of necessitates having a launcher where you can jump in and play the same Warzone, but different Call of Duty.
Honestly, I don't understand why don't they just take an approach that most, I would say, maybe like Japanese developers do, where they have the actual, like, hey, we have the Warzone game that's completely separate. It's completely standalone on its own thing. Like, it doesn't even need to require input from Call of Duty, Black Ops, or whatever stuff, right? But if you have save data from those games or whatever, like if you have any like your profile information, because obviously there's an Activision account and all that fun jazz. If you have that information present, it will recognize it and then it'll proceed to upload whatever stuff you need over to Warzone instead. So that way you don't have to download it. I understand that, by default it selects it and you have to unselect it. But the fact that by default it selects it is a problem to me. I don't like that. I like my space on my hard drive, okay?
Right.
Just because I have like 8 terabytes doesn't mean I want to spend at least...
Come on, bro. Just flexing on these fools?
All right.
Because for me, I'm just rocking the original one.
Yeah,
I couldn't justify paying $200 for an additional terabyte when the box itself is $500.
Right.
And it's like, now I'm paying $700 for a box. I should just buy a PC.
Honestly. Well, yes, because I'm speaking from the perspective of a PC user, but for our console users out there, that's still a large portion of your actual like storage size, like considering 200 plus gigabytes of just game.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. It feels unnecessary.
It probably is. Like if we're being for real, I kind of wish you could maybe. I guess they made it a little simpler. Just like, hey, do you want to like play a downscaled version of this game to preserve your space? And I guess the 4K texture packs, if you don't download them, maybe you don't get them.
Yeah, maybe. I also know they do 4K like texture streaming as well to supposedly help with the file size, but. Really?
Man, I don't know.
You're not fooling nobody.
I think every gen, the storage continues to go up, and I kind of wish they would give you some onboard, like hard storage, like not the highest end SSD. It'll keep the cost down, but also give you some extra storage for like some like previous gen games that don't require the fastest. That said, it's so annoying that Call of Duty, I feel like, is taking complete advantage of the fact that you get a terabyte or almost a terabyte on most of these consoles, unless you got like the Series S, and then you're screwed.
Yeah, you're not downloading it. I'm sorry to tell you.
That's a Call of Duty machine. Only Call of Duty.
Yeah, it's only Call of Duty. You better uninstall that 2K. You better uninstall that Madden, that WWE.
I mean, yeah, honestly, I'm to the point where I want to be carded out. I saw Black Ops 6. I was like, it's interesting. Maybe I might give it a touch. Maybe I might give it a look.
I think you should, if given the opportunity. I'm not saying you got to spend money on it, but if given the opportunity, I think you should play the story because you played the previous Black Ops games. You've played 1 and 2. There's some connecting threads.
So Black Ops 1 and 2, is Cold War connected to that at all, or is it?
I can't remember. Is it?
They did mention the Cold War at one point. So
yeah, they did. It's like,
possible.
It's not the Cold War anymore.
Yeah, it's possible it might be connected.
I didn't finish my Cold War campaign. Like I started it, and then I was just like, okay, onto the multiplayer. But with this one, it's completely the opposite because I hopped into the multiplayer, and I was like, this is fun, but it's super sweaty, and I have to bring out my Pro Controller, or I'm not going to get my slide combos correctly because you have to take your fingers out or your thumb off the face button because that's my configuration is face buttons for crouch and whatnot.
Did you say combos? You said combos?
You're
for
basically
Call of
playing
Duty.
combos for your slide.
Yeah, it's pretty bad because
Execution.
you can slide, you can
'Cause of the
do
Omni
the
movement,
old. Remember,
right.
and I think it's Black Ops 1, you could like jump.
Oh, like the dolphin dive.
The dolphin dive,
dives.
yeah.
So they give you both. Like if you like tap it, you can slide, or if you mash it, you can dolphin dive, or you can slide while shooting, like literally slide aiming down sights to the left, or dolphin dive to the right. It's crazy. You dolphin dive through a window, turn around 360 as you're diving.
Oh,
It's super sweaty. It's amazing. It's really, really cool, the things you can potentially pull off, but it's stupid sweaty. So I can't play without my Pro controller.
so what I heard was there's a lot of you COD streamers out there going to be having a bunch of crazy montage clips of, being like Max Payne or John Wick, right?
Max Payne, exactly. This is Max Payne
First person.
FPS.
Oh my gosh.
With whatever guns you want. Like it's insane. Which I love Max Payne.
Yeah, no.
Max Payne was amazing.
I definitely have a mixed vibe about that because my issue is that you mentioned like the sweatiness, and
Stupid sweaty.
yeah, no, and I think that's going to be ultimately what's going to be the downfall of this multiplayer experience as well. Because I mean, it's heading in that direction. The decision to even add in the OMNI Movement in the first place was a bit of a lack of foresight. Because
I thought it felt good.
Yeah, no,
I was
so
like, it's new, it's fresh.
Yes.
There's
It's
a
new.
new way to move.
Yeah, but think about it this way: in the previous games, we've had options to have increased mobility, increased movement. And guess how? Every time it's been responded to. Oh, this is crazy, man! Like being able to wall run and stuff. That's annoying, man. Being able to do this is crazy, man.
I feel like this is somewhere in between, and I don't want to
Sure.
cut you off, but it's like, okay, the Modern Warfare remake, 2017.
I think it was 2019.
2019, yeah.
Whatever year it was, you're probably right. 2019. It felt slower and more like there was weight behind my footsteps.
On the boots, kind of.
Yeah, boots on the ground type
Boots on the
stuff.
ground, yeah.
And it felt good. Like if I wanted to creep around and pull out a sniper and boom, mount up, like I felt like I could be rewarded for slower gameplay. Or if I was really fast and I had a build that facilitated speed, I felt like that could be fine as well. What I really didn't love was Black Ops 3, where wall running, we're aiming down sights. Now we have power-ups where we have a bow and arrow, which I hate. For FPS, bow and arrows are trash. Fight me. Fight me.
Wait, what about Far Cry bow and arrows?
It's different. It's a completely different game because we're not fighting other people.
Oh, you're fighting computers.
We're fighting the computers, and
You're doing it with a bow, so.
right. Especially if you get murdered by a bow, and you're just like, how did they do that?
It's like, I have a gun. You have a bow. We are not the same.
I'm in the camp of, hey, listen, I've seen a bit of The Walking Dead. Daryl is him, like he has that thing on him. I'm just saying, like, listen,
Daryl has plot armor.
Yeah, he has plot armor. Okay,
A ton, but yeah.
and so do I because I got the bow and you have the gun.
Yeah, it's okay.
No, but in all seriousness, I think I do see what you mean. Like it can be a little bit of a head scratcher because you're using very old technology to deal with automatic weapons.
Yeah,
And
I think the bigger point was what you were talking about is, are we going from boots on the ground to ultra fast movement and wall running? Okay, we're not wall running. Okay, there's no jetpacks in this one. Okay, whatever.
right.
But the movement is so extreme that it's like a deviation from FPS in general. Like if our grandpa, if this is not your uncle's Quake,
Right. Even though Quake itself is a very fast-paced
super
boomer
super
fast.
fast.
Yeah, very
That
fast.
said, there's less to it. Like if you can master those 4 mechanics, you'll be fine. With this one, it's like add like whatever we had the past 10 years, those 12 mechanics add 6 because now you're on the floor, now you're diving, now you're doing this, and now it's like
I guess it's kind of like a evolved version of strafing that you often see in like those arena shooters. boomer shooters.
strafing while sprinting while shooting.
Yeah.
Which
Do you sprint like backwards?
you can
too?
sprint backwards.
Oh my god! See that?
Wait a minute.
How do you? I feel like
Well, in real life you can sprint backwards.
you can
I mean-
sprint backwards, but you're gonna be focused on like your legs the entire. I mean, I get it. It's a video game. It's a video game, so
No, that's the question is, at what point do some of the mechanics just like are they just going to be there? They study everything, right? They have
Right.
the right to look at your Xbox to see what kind of inputs you're using, see what abilities, what guns, all the different stuff. I'd be curious to see the numbers. How often are players sprinting backwards versus
Wow.
turning around?
Yeah, versus just turning around.
I feel like a lot of console players will probably spin backwards.
Yeah,
And a lot
yeah,
of
that's
PC
slower.
players are just going to turn around.
they just
for
flick
They're
it.
just going to
sensitivity.
flick their wrist one time.
Yeah,
and
just
jet.
So whoop, jump
Yeah.
scare.
Right. But I don't know. So that's the question: is are we taking movements that are completely unnecessary, which are adding additional stress to the average 9 to 5 guy who's trying to hop on and enjoy a session? GG's, guys. You know?
So I actually had a buddy of mine who was just like, they just need to make like a 9 to 5 lobby for a bunch of 9 to 5 guys.
No,
and I
a
said
9 to 5 lobby.
and I
no.
said that'd be a terrible idea because what's gonna happen is that the streamer sweats are gonna go to the 9 to 5 lobby, and that's where they're gonna make their money.
Well, it would be one thing because apparently with the multiplayer, this is what people are seeing, and I didn't play enough multiplayer to really see this, but you play really good in 1 or 2 matches, they're going to bump you into the pro lobbies. Yeah, with
Yeah, the skill-based matchmaking.
Skill-based matchmaking, which in some way it's good. I don't want to just beat up on people who can't play, except when I do. If I'm feeling bad about myself, my wife just yelled at me. I'm going to go beat up on some 12-year-olds, who've never played the game, who have never played the game. That said, just in reality, like I want some guy, I want like 1 or 2 guys on the team to be good and carry some of the bad, some of the, they can't play.
You don't want 24 kills and everyone else has like 2.
Right. Like,
yeah,
that's not.
That's awful. Yep.
That's not great. If there's 2 or 3 guys on the team that are actually good, that's one thing. But I don't want like 2 or 3 guys with like negative KD.
I would say that what they should really do is, and maybe they have is, there are probably billions of people playing COD, or not billions, but millions of people playing COD, right?
Yeah, I mean, how many copies did freaking Horizon sell? Was it 10 million or something like that? 50,
About roughly
20?
We had a guy say something along those lines.
Yeah.
But literally, like, if there are probably like a few million people playing during that time, how many of us are going to be like, yeah, we won like 2 or 3 matches, and then we just put ourselves in the same match lobby so everyone's kind of on that even fighting field, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a good question. It's like, how should matchmaking be? Since skill-based matchmaking is not good unless you're in ranked. Good question. I don't know. Who wasn't Ubisoft's first-person shooter? What was that called again?
Rainbow Six,
Rainbow
Not
Six.
Rainbow Six. The new one that it's like a hero shooter, but it's not.
X-Defiant.
X-Defiant, yeah.
That one apparently didn't have skill-based matchmaking, and the lobbies were all sorts of weird. Like you would go in, and there'd just be sniper mains just like tearing your skull open.
Oh my goodness.
And at some level, I'm just like, hey, they're clearly much better than me, and there's 6 of them in here.
See, what I would just do is that I would just go invisible because they have that one guy that just goes invisible, just sprint across the map with a shotgun, and then you just wait.
Hey,
Oh my
modern
gosh.
problems, modern solutions.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And then
that makes sense.
And then you get like a message being like, "You suck," or a little bit more
Oh,
not YouTube
man.
friendly words being said at you.
Dude, I used to when I used to play a lot of Madden. Every once in a while, you would get a direct message from people, like if you lost real bad, or if you beat somebody up, like spamming up a certain play, just kind of cheesing it. They'd be like, "You're so trash. 1v1 me, bro." Bro, one time, one horror story. One time, I got invited into a party chat like mid game. And
no.
it was a little weird. Dude called me some names that I can't repeat on this podcast.